All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Mr. Vane Reviews podcast. My name is Kyle, aka Mr. Vane, and today we are actually going to have a little bit of a change in the lineup. As opposed to having James with me as always, I have a new guest. His name is Kevin. Say hello, Kevin.
Oh, hello.
Kevin is a graduate from UVU with a degree in colorful writing or something.
Close enough.
Yeah. Kevin is another comic book nerd friend of mine. He probably knows more than anybody else ever of all time.
That's high praise.
Yeah, so I don't know if you really want to introduce yourself or not. I pretty much just did. You've got a degree, you're smart or something, and
that covers it, I guess.
And that about covers it. So let's just go straight into news, and then we can just talk about the other stuff. The first thing I want to talk about, and this everybody is what the show is going to be about, is they just announced some changes for the Underworld franchise. So originally the fifth movie was going to change course. It was going to have a different set of actors. Instead of focusing on Kate Beckinsale's character Celine, it was going to focus on the character she met in Underworld Awakening that was played by Theo James. Which I guess he was kind of cool in that movie, or whatever. She totally saved his life, so by going all Matrix Reloaded on him. And I thought he was okay, but I didn't feel like he was like the take over the franchise material.
Not strong enough.
Yeah, so when they just recently announced that he is way too busy with the Divergent series since they decided to go all money grab and split the third movie into two, which a lot of movies are doing these days, and it is exactly that, a money grab.
Needlessly doing.
Yeah, needlessly, because I've read the Divergent trilogy. I couldn't finish the third one because the second one was already too sad and depressing, and the third one just wasn't picking up. Like, there's a lot of like strong female characters in a lot of these like post-apocalyptic novels these days, but they're always trying to make them strong. Like, probably one of the reasons Jennifer Lawrence is doing so well with not Catching Fire, what's it called? The Hunger Games, is like, that's a strong character that struggles but just remains strong or gets stronger. And in Divergent, she starts out kind of weak, gets strong, and then just crashes into weakness and just continues to sink deeper. In the books. In the movie, they actually, like in Insurgent, they actually just like, nah, she'll struggle, but she's going to be tough. And it's actually better than the book, in my opinion. But, yeah. Anyways, totally tangent. Unnecessary. Whatever, something words. Theo James is way too busy with the Divergent series now that they're filming two more to be able to come back to Underworld. So they got in talks with Kate Beckinsale, and she's back in the game.
Yes.
So, obviously good news for you?
I think that's a great move. I think it wouldn't have been strong without some sort of returning main character.
Well, yeah, and that's, the Underworld series, not to, like, compare it at all to Fast and the Furious, but it pulled a similar thing, where they started out with a really strong cast in the first one, and then the second one they didn't bring back as many characters, but it was still really good. In fact, I loved Underworld Evolutions way more than not way more, but I liked it more than the first one a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And then in the third one, they brought back absolutely none of the returning cast besides Victor, which I don't know if that counts.
Well, and they did also have Lucian.
Oh yeah, he counts, I guess.
Oh, you can't forget Lucian.
It's true. He was good. Yeah,
they totally changed his character around in that movie.
They did. We'll talk about that part later. But yeah, they didn't really bring a lot of people back, and so the third one I liked but didn't love as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I also didn't have Kate Beckinsale. It just had a girl who looked sort of like her.
They desperately tried to make look like her.
Yeah, because they're like, well, Victor's daughter and Celine, they looked alike. And it's just like, the third one didn't do as well, and I think because they didn't have, like, the powerhouse of Kate Beckinsale, or even Scott Speedman, who's not like this, like, world-renowned actor, but, I mean, he was good in those movies, and I liked him.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And when he wasn't in that one either, I was just kind of sad, like, Scott Speedman, you're pretty good. I mean, I don't know. The third one wasn't great, and I was surprised when they decided to do Underworld Awakening, but when I read the synopsis, I got real excited because I thought, oh my god, this is going to be so good. They're bringing them out, vampires out in the world. We're going to talk about Underworld in depth, which we probably should save for later. But I wanted to bring up that Kate Beckinsale's back. They haven't announced any other like casting choices, but she has agreed to come back to do the fifth Underworld movie. There's no real word on what it's going to be about, but once we finish talking about the first four movies, we'll probably do a little bit of theory crafting onto what we think the story could be or what it should be, and maybe some characters they should bring in or not, or like we'll ask all those questions and answer them for you as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Underworld because that is one of my favorite franchises, and I believe it deserves an episode. And so, we'll talk a little bit about these things because I have you on the show and you watch them. The DC comic shows that they've got coming out. They just did a 6-minute trailer for Supergirl. Did you got a chance to see that, right?
I did, yes.
Okay, what do you think about it before I say anything?
Well, I'm excited to see where they're going to go with it. I think it's certainly going to be different based on the network that it's on. I think CBS is going to handle a show very differently than the CW or even Fox. Even with some of the same people at the helm, I think it's just going to be geared differently. The first few minutes of the trailer kind of, I don't want to say bored me, but didn't interest me as much as it seemed more like some kind of romantic comedy TV show, and it just happened to be Supergirl at the heart of it.
Yeah, a lot of people referenced it or compared it to that SNL skit with Black Widow.
Exactly.
Everybody I talked to has seen both of those and compared them, and I thought, yep, that's exactly what I thought.
That's what it felt like. And then towards the end, they kind of get a little bit more serious and kind of showing off a little bit more of what the show could be like. I just don't want it to turn into
a romantic comedy?
Yes, a romantic comedy, but also some of the seasons of Smallville.
Oh, yeah.
When Smallville was on and they tried to make it more romantic about the relationship of Clark and Lana, and it was just like, all right, we want to see some fighting. We want to see some Superman stuff. And that's how I feel with this, is we want to see Supergirl, not as much Kara Zor-El.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta be honest, I don't read her comics. She was recently in the Green Lantern and Red Lantern comics. They had that whole Red Daughter storyline where she gets she's misunderstood, and she gets really mad that everybody wants to help her out. Like she's a kid, because she still sort of is, I guess. And so she gets really, really mad, like real mad. And so a Red Lantern ring shows up and finds her, and now she is uncontrollably mad, and it's a Kryptonian with a Red Lantern ring.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. So when Hal Jordan stumbles upon it with some other Green Lanterns, and they manage to subdue her because they're Green Lanterns,
of course,
and it's Hal Jordan, and so they take her to Guy Gardner, who's running the scene for the Red Lanterns, and it's actually a really good storyline. I'm not going to go over the whole thing because we're in the news section or whatever. But it's pretty good, and, it proved that, to me at least, that she could be an interesting character, because I actually went and, got some of the other comics to read and finish out that storyline, because I really wanted to know what happened. Mm-hmm. And she, throws a guy into the sun, which is always cool.
She's a good character. I think they've got a lot of good material, I also worry about them throwing in too many Superman storylines just to fill up the time with Supergirl.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I feel like a lot of Superman villains are going to make appearances. We already have in the trailer Jimmy Olsen showing up.
Black Jimmy Olsen.
Exactly. And which was it. I don't know. That's just not. I mean, Jimmy Olsen in comics is like this nerdy redhead, scrawny little.
Yeah,
You know,
that's.
and so it was just like, I don't mind if he's black, white. I don't care. But he just seemed like this bodybuilder, like Abercrombie model, and I'm like, I don't know about that as Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that they've made him into that, and even, I'm not racist, I don't care about that stuff, but they also did the same thing with Hank Henshaw. He was in that trailer too, where he's leading the, like, little task force or whatever that Supergirl tries to join up with. And the guy is listed as Hank Henshaw. I was like, wait a second, that's Cyborg Superman.
Right.
Cyborg Superman looks like Superman. And you know what? Who cares? It's not about that stuff.
I think I'll give it a chance. I think that, especially with Greg Berlanti and some of these other great writers and producers of the DC shows on right now.
Yeah, Mark Guggenheim's there too.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jeff Johns is somewhere behind that scene too.
To do with it, guaranteed.
Yeah, because he's one of the creative directors at DC now.
He is, yeah.
I'm sad because that meant he got off of all of the titles I was enjoying reading, but
he started something great that other people have picked up. So
yeah, and he's a great writer. So as long as he's got some ideas behind it, and yeah, Berlanti's in there too. Guggenheim would be great. These guys are like really just taking the TV universe for DC and making it it's not comparable to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I would say that the TV universe DC has going is just rocking it.
I am disappointed in one thing that I read recently, saying that the head of CBS has officially stated that she does not want her property to be used on other networks. Because for a while, Greg Berlanti was in talks to have Supergirl make appearances on Arrow and Flash. Currently, CBS is saying that will not happen. They're still in talks. It still may happen in the future, but currently CBS does not want any crossovers.
Yeah, there's a rumor, but it hasn't been confirmed, that Berlanti had in his contract that if he comes to help with this show, that she will show up on The Flash at some point.
Right. I just don't think it'll be anywhere in the first season.
Yeah, I agree. If it's going to happen, it probably wouldn't be in the first season. And even if it is, it wouldn't be as frequent because they're different networks, and
it would be a very rare thing.
I personally just don't care if they show up together. Like, it's cool that Arrow and Flash cross over, and we'll talk about Legend tomorrow in a second, and that's pretty much just a giant crossover show itself.
Right.
But
the downside with the crossovers is then you begin to expect it, in so that, like, when in the Arrow, when they're saying, oh, we don't have enough time to accomplish this, we can't be in more than one place at once, then anyone who's viewed the show is like, come on, you know a guy who can definitely get this done quickly, and he's been on the show before. Give a call to Barry Allen.
Yeah.
And so you almost expect that, but obviously, contracts being what they are, he's not going to be in every episode.
Yeah, but I mean, the episode they did somewhere in the middle of those seasons where it was Flash versus Arrow and Arrow versus Flash or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that was the most viewed episode of those shows to date. And I've loved Arrow. I loved season 2. I loved Deathstroke. That was such a great character. Manu Bennett was
perfect choice.
The perfect choice. He's like the Hugh Jackman for Wolverine.
He is Deathstroke.
He did a great job, yeah. And so it was a great casting choice, and they did well. But like putting the Flash on there as an enemy/friend, like, it did better. And so I like the crossovers, and as long as they're not too frequent.
That's what I mean, is that you don't want to have them overused.
Yeah, then it's great, because we'll talk. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of these shows real quick, just as we just go over them, because like the Flash just ended. We talked about how awesome that was. There were a bunch of like Easter egg spoilers for that. Spoilers something. Yeah, we saw Killer Frost. We saw the Flash Museum.
We saw the helmet of Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
The season 1 of The Flash was great. I really enjoyed it, and I'd go back to it again. Looking forward to season 2. All of the cool stuff they've got planned for that.
They have more than earned that. That's another place where they've more than earned the trust of the viewers, is because they're sticking to as closely as they can with the source material, but making it happen very quickly. And they didn't take a whole season to build up to a huge villain. We knew about Reverse Flash. We knew who he was, and I don't know. They used their characters very wisely in that show.
Yeah, and then the Arrow did a really good job. I liked it. It'll be interesting to see where they go. But it ended, and it's basically saying both, past Oliver Queen and, Oliver Queen and Felicity in the present day are all going to Coast City. And all anybody can think about now is Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. They're going to do it. They're not going to do it.
I'm so nervous if they do. I don't think they can. There's too many scenes in space. There's too many. I don't think it'll look good on the small screen.
Yeah,
he's not meant for a TV show, I don't think.
He could be. I mean, I don't know. I want to think he could. They obviously hasn't announced anything. And
I love Green Lantern, and I would love that. I'm nervous about how it would appear on a small screen.
Yeah, and it may just be a bunch of Easter eggs. Like, they're just like, well, we're just going to, tease you guys repeatedly with Green Lantern stuff.
Is this maybe the finally getting the death of the Arrow, and we might finally get Green Arrow?
That's what a lot of people have speculated, is that he can't be the Arrow anymore. Like, Ra's al Ghul made it so that he can't come back as that, because they basically plastered him as an enemy because he killed cops or whatever, and he was arrested, when Roy went to prison and then he died. Right. So to keep up appearances or whatever, the Arrow is dead, and so I imagine that they're going to go to Coast City, and maybe they'll bump into Carol Ferris or somebody, and she'll be
There'll be some cameos, I think.
Yeah, and they'll just be like, oh, you should just become the Green Arrow, because green's just like it's the word or something. And so yeah, these guys will go on to do that, but they've already signed these shows up for new seasons. So we'll get season 4 of Arrow, season 2 of The Flash. The Legends of Tomorrow had its first trailer come out.
Wow.
Did you see that?
I did.
It was just like, yeah, it wasn't as long as the Supergirl one, but I enjoyed it way, way more.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you get to see Rip Hunter, who's like, oh, I'm from England. And the future. But, I led with England because it was cool. And the future because...
Rip Hunter's such a great character. I think it'll be fun to see him in that mix.
Yeah. They originally had planned, Booster Gold to be the guy to do, but I guess he's tied up somewhere else. It was the same when they started out season 3 of Arrow. They were going to do Blue Beetle, but, contract stuff, properties wherever they are, movies and things, and they ended up doing the Atom. Which
I'm okay with. I think...
Yeah, I liked
think
it.
That I like the character of Ray Palmer, and I think the Atom is an awesome character that'll look really cool in the show. And
they finally got him to shrink down in that trailer.
Yes. I've been waiting for that.
Yeah, I know.
I was wondering if they were going to do that or not.
He's just got a toned down Iron Man suit. That's all he's got right now.
Yeah.
But, that shoots lightning or whatever.
But yeah, the trailer looks great. I'm glad they brought Captain Cold, Heatwave.
Yeah.
Those are great characters together. I mean, the actors, obviously, from Prison Break, they've used a lot of Prison Break alumni that have shown up in these DC shows.
Yeah, and quite a few from Spartacus, too. Manu Bennett, the guy that got Deathstroke, and then the guy who did Captain Boomerang, they're from Spartacus, so they're pulling these guys that know each other, and, who cares?
It shows. Their chemistry shows on screen.
Yeah, and so they're really, really good.
Right.
And so, I'm looking forward to Legends of Tomorrow. Saw Hawkgirl. You sort of saw her. You saw, the actress who plays her. And
I did notice that when we see Firestorm, we only see Martin Stein.
Because the ML, he's currently not on the cast, so there's rumors that he may show up, he may not.
They could also bring in the Jason Roosh character.
Yeah, there's a couple different, because Firestorm's had different halves. I'm not really sure how you say that, how that works out. He's had different pairs, because it hasn't always been Stein. Is it around? Yeah, it's around Brightest Day, but it switches over to this the other couple, and Martin Stein's just there, And then, and then stuff happens, comic book stuff, and it's back and forth and all this other stuff, and eventually it comes back to not the original characters, but one of them.
When it comes down to, what's his name? Ronnie Raymond and Jason Roosh.
Yeah, there we go.
Right after the events of Brightest Day.
Yeah, so who knows who they're going to put in there? They haven't said anything, and maybe they won't.
Options.
But the show doesn't even show up until January, so
we've got plenty of time.
We've got a ton of time, and they can still shoot stuff and talk about it.
They can do whatever they want. If one wants to be Firestorm alone, they will do it. I mean,
yep.
They've got whatever they want to do.
It's just, my question is, the Flash was clearly in that trailer with them multiple times.
Right.
And at the end of the TV show, he's jumping into the giant portal time storm thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, everyone.
Spoiler alert.
I guess we're supposed to say that before we spoil it, but yeah, there are no rules. But yeah, he's just all of a sudden in the show. So that's my question is where does the Flash come into this? But I guess there's
a lot of assumptions that can be made about
we're going to have a whole half a season before he does that thing. So it's whatever. I don't know.
And I think they'll just be ushering in the new, you saw Oliver moment,
yeah. And
so, that makes sense. Oliver Queen shows up in the first episode, Flash. So you can kind of expect that these two are going to show up in the first episode of Legends of Tomorrow to kind of usher in the new crowd, and then they can exit, make their cameos, but I feel like it's going to be led by these other people who are sadly going to show up less in the other shows because I'm going to miss Captain Cold.
I'm sure he'll be back. He's almost like one of he's
the leader of the Rogues at some point there. So.
Yeah, and he's an awesome actor, an awesome character. He's one of the most, I don't want to say popular, but he's one of the more frequently seen Flash villains.
Yes.
For just having
a complex villain.
Yeah, for having a cold gun as his superpower, but he plays both sides of the, the good and evil kind of a game. So it's he's obviously going to be back. He'll probably because if this show just runs for essentially what will be half a season, then they might just be all right, Legends of Tomorrow, we're probably going to change some stuff. Because Rip Hunter does say, those of you that survive. And so it's just some of them, that's my British accent, everyone. I'm totally from East London too. Or something about chips or tea, crumpets.
Dingo ate your baby.
I'm pretty sure that's Australia.
Close enough.
Same difference.
I was just going off your accent, not the location.
All right, so I don't have a very good accent. I'm clearly American, but yeah, they'll change things around, and I'm sure he'll come back to the Flash, and they'll switch back and forth, time travel stuff. But yeah,
the nice part about them all being in the same universe, they can use them wherever they want.
Yeah, this DC TV universe is just it's on fire, and I am psyched for the oncoming seasons.
For sure.
But, yeah, props to all we already mentioned them, Guggenheim and Berlanti and Johns and stuff. These guys, they know what they're doing, and they've done a good job.
Trust them. Yep.
So there's all those TV shows. We kind of just sort of reviewed them, but also did some news about them. Good things coming from there. So some other news things I've got, maybe we won't talk as much about them, but they're kind of fun just to look at or, say things about. Transformers. It was only just recently announced that the Walking Dead creator is going to be taking on that franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that?
It only recently just got announced. I'm trying to remember his name.
Robert Kirkman.
There we go. He is apparently going to be helping out with this. It's also been rumored, although I can't see the confirmations anywhere, that Michael Bay is done with them and may not be coming back.
I think a lot of the audience is done with Mike.
Yeah, well, he's whatever. I don't know. Can't say I've loved these Transformer movies, but do you think that with this new stuff coming on that maybe the Transformers stands a chance to become a lovable franchise again?
I think it depends what they do with it. I think if they just keep going on this disjointed story that they've got, no. Just because it's become mostly just an action thriller and the story doesn't really follow at all.
With lots of explosions.
I don't necessarily want a reboot. But I mean, there's different ways they could go. They could do a Beast Wars movie. They could take it off of Earth, change it a little bit, something.
Well, they ended that last one, like, basically saying that, Optimus Prime is off of the planet, and...
Right.
Yeah, if they did something like taking us to Cybertron...
I say do it off-world. I think that it has a better chance.
Yeah, well, and, like, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was a video game where they spent a lot of time on Cybertron, and then in the comics they've done it too. But it'd be pretty sweet if we spent some time there and actually got to see that world they live in.
For sure. We only get glimpses.
Yeah. And so I hope that I want the franchise to succeed. I want it to come back from wherever it's at and just be awesome again, cuz I loved those cartoons as a kid. I can't say I read a lot of the comics. I did, like, faithfully watch Beast Wars. And
of course.
I would totally be okay if they brought that in or something.
I think a Beast Wars movie would be fun. A live-action version of the, 88, 89, something like that. The animated Transformers movie was just fantastic.
Yeah. Because, like, the Dinobots that they brought in with this last...
That was a great tease.
Yeah, like, they brought those in, and then they're like, okay, we're going to use you guys for a few minutes and then kick you out. Like, I freaking loved the Dinobots.
I mean, they even have the option to do a prequel, show how the Dinobots got there, and show the Dinobots' journey, and leave the Autobots alone for now.
Yeah, they could even do that. I don't know. It's... For hardcore fans versus people who just go to watch it, it could go either way, but...
Right.
I don't know. Hopefully, the Walking Dead's done really well. I got to admit, I haven't finished this last season because it's kind of slowed down for me, but my interest has waned. But hopefully it does well. Real quick note, you've seen the Netflix show Daredevil, right? You watched that?
Yes.
It now has the highest rating of all of Netflix's
really?
own shows. Yeah, it just went up a whole 1/10 of a point above House of Cards, which now
I was just
going to
say that's the one to beat.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's freaking Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
He is the one to beat, but they just did it. It now has a 4.6 rating, and it is one of the most viewed shows on Netflix.
For good reason.
Yeah, it was awesome. I just wanted to point that out. That's
great show. Everyone should check it out.
Yeah. They're gonna do that season 2 next year, so
I believe January is when they said it started. I can't remember.
Yeah, they're working on Jessica Jones right now and Luke Cage as well. So hopefully those do really well. We've seen some more stuff from the Suicide Squad movie. They released some I don't know if you want to say they got released or got leaked, but we've seen some stuff with Harley Quinn and the Joker. And then some leaked shots or whatever of the Joker in his little purple sports car.
Yeah. Interesting take.
Yeah, it looks a little different, right? I mean, the Joker looks a little weird, but I mean, has he ever looked normal?
And that's the thing is, I think they have so many different options. There's so much creative license with the Joker. He's an ever-changing villain, so there's so much you can do with him, and making him look different. Oh, you know what? It's the Joker. Look through the comics. He looks different 10 years ago now, completely, than he does now. So,
I think I'm hoping Jared Leto surprises a lot of people, and we actually just get maybe not blown away, but at the very least we enjoy this movie.
I'm actually very optimistic about Leto.
Yeah, I've seen his acting chops before, and I think he could totally do it.
I think so.
So, I don't know. A lot more of the comments on Twitter and Facebook have been in the more negative side of things, but yeah.
He has a lot to live up to. I mean, everyone's going to compare him to the Heath Ledger Joker, and that's just going to happen.
Yeah, that's inevitable, and I think a lot of people are afraid that he is not going to satisfy.
But he needs the different Joker. I mean, this is a different cinematic universe. This is a different story. Joker's different. I mean, I think he deserves the chance.
Yeah, exactly. And we were mentioning earlier that I love the Suicide Squad because I've read some of the comics, I've seen some of the animated movies, and they were all just really, really good. And I've seen the cast photos. Everybody looks impressive, and I think this movie will be great. Everybody just needs to.
I think it's going to surprise everyone out there who expects them to fail. Yeah,
exactly. One little side thing, we reviewed Kingsman months ago, and in like another 2 weeks the DVD comes out. Everybody wants a sequel. I can't find anywhere where people are saying that they don't want one. Everybody seems to want one. But also everybody seems to want Colin Firth to come back. Just because he was a great gentleman spy.
Right.
And they interviewed the actor who plays Eggsy, and he said, I want him to come back too. we don't know how he's going to do it, because, he got shot in the face in the last movie, and it's pretty hard to come back from that, but, if we do another one, hopefully he comes back, and, Mark Millar says he would probably be up for that. He's the one who wrote the Kingsman comics, and then Matthew Vaughn, who directed it, said, I would probably be up for another movie too. So
I don't know how they would get away with that without doing a prequel of some sort again.
Well, and that's what a lot of them are doing, because the comics, they pretty much use the vast majority of their source material for that movie, and it was a great film.
Right.
But if they decide to do a sequel or prequel, a lot of that, a prequel would be able to bring back Colin Firth.
They'd be able to bring back all the characters, Galahad, everybody would be there, so.
Yeah, they would be able to bring all of those back and be able to show some other stuff, and then a sequel would just require some super secret special serum that brings people back from the dead.
They've got something,
yeah.
It's an over-the-top spy movie. What they can do whatever they want.
Exactly. They did some crazy stuff in that movie to begin with. They had a lady with prosthetic blade legs, so.
Exactly. So I'm not expecting pure realism.
Yeah, exactly. So, I hope that a sequel comes out and that it is just as awesome. I think Colin Firth would probably be a good idea.
That's great, yeah.
But, I'm looking forward to that. So, I'm trying to make sure I don't have any other stuff on my little news feed here, but that might be it. I don't know. There's some casting rumors for the new Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's basically Chris Pratt just shooting them down. They interviewed, I don't remember his name, it was the actor that played Yondu. Basically everyone called him Blue Merle.
Yeah.
That's what I call him.
Blue Merle, I like that.
Blue Merle. Yeah, because he sounded the same, so.
He is Merle, he'll always be Merle now.
Yeah, he was interviewed about the Star-Lord's father, and he's like, he's totally talked about. Oh, well, we don't talk about him. His dad, he's a thing. He might show up in this second movie, but I can't say. And it was just really bad that they were pulling all that stuff, and I was like, oh man, come on, just say yes or no.
Yeah.
The movie comes out in 2 years. Whatever. So.
We've got plenty of time to speculate, but come on.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's about it for our news. All the stuff that we just kind of, rambled on about. And so now we're going to move on to the main thingy. Today we're going to talk about the Underworld series. Those movies, likes, dislikes, maybe our personal ratings for the movie or rankings, and where we think the franchise is going to go. So. The first Underworld movie, I did not know anything about it. I remember going into a movie store and just seeing it sitting there on the shelf, and I thought, that looks cool. So I bought it. I did not know anything about it. And
that paid off for you.
Yeah, it did. What was that? Yeah, back in 2003 when it came out. And I just thought, you know what? Something about vampires. Sure, why not? And I freaking loved it. This was probably, I think, the first movie I saw Kate Beckinsale in, and she was just clad in leather with a bunch of guns, and it was great.
That's why you bought it.
That's why I really bought it. No, I thought it sounded cool, and I didn't really know much about movies back then, so I just bought it for kicks, and I totally loved it. It did a really good job starting off this universe, the fight between the werewolves and the vampires, or I guess in this one they just keep calling them lycans, which is, short for lycanthrope, werewolves, same thing. And I freaking loved this movie. Like, it did a really good job introducing Scott Speedman's character, Michael, who is just this descendant of the original lineage, and when he gets bitten by Lucian, he gets these memories, which kind of makes me feel that the third movie was more unnecessary than it needed to be, because they pretty much told the whole story right there. And in his memories, like, oh, this stuff happened.
Just about.
Yeah, just about. I mean, it was only like a minute or two of very fuzzy flashbacks.
Which
film
looked completely different in the third one.
Oh yeah, they totally changed a bunch of stuff because they had to. But it basically just, I mean, Kate Beckinsale was incredible, and being a death dealer, I just thought that was a cool title, and she wasn't just some lovesick puppy following, Michael around just because she was attracted to him. She seriously wanted to know what was going on, and she's like doing this detective style stuff, figuring things out and finding all of these like conspiracies going on within her own clan. And it was, I thought she was an incredibly powerful female character who just kicked butt and was just awesome.
Definitely.
And then, I mean, what was your opinion about it? When did you see it, or decided you liked it?
Well, the first time I saw it was with you.
Oh, no way.
When we lived together at Snow College.
Oh, man.
That was the first time I had seen it. I don't remember, you guys were watching it one night or something, and that was the first time I saw it.
No way.
And yeah, a long time ago. But not, I was late to the game, but loved it. I mean, like you said, she's a strong character. I like how it presents a different view of werewolves or lycans, and it kind of gives you like a different perspective there. The interesting story that was set up with the betrayal, the secrets in her own clan, or what do they call it, a coven?
Yeah.
But I also really liked the character of Lucian, the leader of the lycans in that movie.
Yeah, a little ragtag group of werewolves.
Right. And we know he used to serve the vampires, and he has some sort of history with Victor. We don't find out too much more until the third movie. We know he had a relationship with Victor's daughter, but we don't really know too much beyond that. But it was a great movie in that it created that curiosity that you wanted to know more. You wanted to keep watching. You wanted to find out who these characters were. And, I mean, Victor, Bill Nye, just, wow. Like, the best villain they could have had in that movie.
Oh, yeah, well, and then, Victor is a villain?
Well, Victor is Victor, I guess.
Old Bill Nye, like, every time I hear him talk nowadays, I'm just like, oh my gosh, he was that octopus guy in Pirates of the Caribbean. Davy Jones.
Let's forget that. He was Victor, the vampire elder.
Yeah, well, he's got that same accent and the way he says words, and it just kind of sounds like he's trying to spit them out of his mouth sometimes.
Yes, he's got a mouthful of something.
Abomination.
He's got a mouthful of blood, that's what it is.
Yeah, it was just hilarious that he spoke the same way in those. But, yeah, he was an incredible...
Just the best character. I mean, you've got a great character when, even though he's killed off in the first movie, he's in the second and the third movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to have a great character at that point.
Well, when they bring him back from, his slumber or whatever, and right now it's just like his relationship with Celine seems like an intimate one. Like, she trusts him more than anyone, and...
She's the one that wakes him up.
Yeah, and she's the one that wakes him up, and he is to her pretty much just a father figure and her the most trusted individual on planet Earth for her.
Right.
And then it's just, as the story progresses even further in that movie, it's revealed that, he killed her human family, and he has been using her and lying to her this whole time. And now he just wants to kill her, her love interest, which it was fine by that point in time in the movie. But I loved seeing the slow betrayal where she eventually has to decide it's my vampire clan or it's, being a renegade. And she chooses the renegade, for story's sake and just because that seemed like the most logical choice. And then she does the most awesome thing in the world and slices his head in half.
And you get that slow feel, which almost felt like did you ever see Equilibrium?
Yeah.
It felt just like Taye Diggs' death in that movie.
Yeah. One
slow slide of the
it's gotta be it's how it should have ended or something for Underworld where I don't remember where it is I've seen it, but they basically just make fun of how long it took his head to slide in half.
It's almost a minute, I believe.
Yeah, and I remember when I saw that I was just waiting for it to happen, and then when it happened I just laughed because that took forever.
Way too long. He turns around, he opens his mouth,
he looks at her, and it's just like, oh man, if that really happened in real life. But then again,
it's vampires and lycans.
Yeah. I have to make a note, I like the werewolves in this movie, the lycans, because they're supernatural creatures instead of some kind of a virus, and they can transform at will now.
Well, that's the difference that we kind of learn more in the third movie, that there's actually a difference between lycans and werewolves.
Yeah.
And we get a sense of that in the second movie. Tanis talks about it a little bit, that werewolves, the original breed of werewolves created by William, are mindless creatures who can't transform back to humans, and they're just crazy. The lycans are almost like a watered-down version in some respects, in that they can transform back and forth at will. And in the third movie, we see how different they actually look as well.
Yeah, but it's just they still seem like kind of mindless beasts, but at the same time, they
can work together, they can control, they have planned attacks, and...
Yeah, it's a lot better that way, and I
agree, it's different, and I like that.
Yeah, I thought it was a good handle on the werewolf mythos, and I was actually very pleased with it.
The story of Corvinus, everything just worked together really well.
Yeah, so the first movie, definitely great, and definitely I don't know if it's my number one choice for this franchise, but if it's not number one, it's number two.
I would agree with that. I would say it might be my number one just because of how well it sets up the universe, and because as much as I love the second one, I still think Victor was just such a great character, and the reveal of his treachery and everything was just so great. I might have to rank it number one, but it's very close with Underworld Evolution.
Exactly. So then we'll move on to the second one. So the end of the first one, Celine and Michael, they've decided they're gonna, be together, and he's now a vampire lycan hybrid, super powerful, able to fight Victor, a vampire lord, and they're gonna go on the run now. And so the second one picks up literally where the first one left off. And gosh, I'm forgetting. I'm trying to form all of this in my head. Marcus, the blood at the end of the first movie was leaking into his sarcophagus or whatever.
From the lycan scientist that they had captured.
Yeah, exactly. And so he wakes up just as I just spaced his name. Victor's dead.
Right.
Who's the guy that was in charge of their house that was Craven. Oh man, how did I forget that? All I can think about is Craven the Hunter. But anyways, Craven shows up and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Marcus, you're alive. Oh, stuff and things. You need to help me out. Celine's gone crazy." And he's like, I just inherited this guy's blood memories."
Let's talk about that for a moment too.
Okay.
How cool that concept is that they introduced, that's so unique to this franchise, is that the blood memories, that as they drink the blood of someone, they learn, they get their knowledge, they get their wisdom, they get their strength, Yeah. It's a very unique thing for vampires, and I like that, like you said, as Craven shows up and tries to convince him, just by drinking the lycan's blood, he knows all of his memories, he knows what Craven's done.
Yeah.
It's a very cool twist on this story.
Yeah, and that's part, I guess we could have covered that a little bit with Michael's. He gets bit by Lucian, so he's one of the, if not the most powerful lycan, And so they wanted to inject one of the vampire lord's blood into him to make him the most powerful creature in existence. So they killed the female vampire lord, and who, she was pretty great for the minute she was in there, I guess.
Amelia, yes.
Yeah,
she's not very... We don't really know anything about her yet. But.
Yeah, and for a vampire lord, she got taken down real fast. But anyways, they had her blood and were going to inject it into him, but, Michael got pumped with silver, and so Selene bit him, and he's still pretty dang powerful. And in the second one, they have to go up against Marcus, who is now evolved, which I guess is why they call it Underworld Evolution, and has wings and can fly. And he uses those to rip Kraven in half. That was great.
Oh, his wings they're almost like talons, just these claws that come out. And
yeah, they are terrifying.
He kills Tannis that way. He kills, oh man.
Alexander, yeah.
Yes.
And so he becomes this just force to be reckoned with, and I guess he decides that he's going to take out Selene and Michael because Michael is an abomination, and...
They oppose him, essentially.
Yeah, they oppose him because they're renegades and they need to be stopped because Marcus is basically the last vampire elder.
He wants to start his pure vampire race. That's his breed of vampire, the evolved vampires.
That's right, starting a pure race. That's not an old concept. But yeah, this still was a really great movie. Selene and Michael on the run. They got to figure some more stuff out. It feels weird that I keep calling it a detective kind of thing, but they're trying to just solve these mysteries, decide what they have to do, and essentially what ends up happening is they're awesome. Yeah. And they're not powerful enough to defeat Marcus at the very start of the movie, but eventually...
They meet him very early.
Yeah, they do, several times, in fact. But eventually they get out, the weird sex scene, every time we watch the movie, we're just like... It gets awkward in the room, because we're just like, we're all dudes. Like,
why is this here?
Why are we...
It's like they're desperate to cement the relationship. Like, I promise, Michael and Selene really do like each other. See?
Yeah, well, and then, this is getting ahead of ourselves, but in the fourth movie, there is their daughter.
So we have to know for storytelling purposes, but...
Yeah, that he did, in fact, knock her up. Which I guess is why there was the sex scene in the third one. It's just, you have to know they got knocked up, that she got knocked up, and this is how babies are made, or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the only justification I think they can give for it, because...
Yep. Our show is family friendly, so there we go. We used as loose a terms as we could to make our point.
So the second movie, I love. However, and you and I have talked about this in the past, the downside to the second movie is when Michael has become a hybrid at the end of the first movie, he is unstoppable. He is incredibly strong, just destroys. But in the beginning of the second movie, he is easily taken out by Marcus.
Yeah.
It seems his hybrid strength. I mean, granted, he's weak from the battle. They mentioned that he hasn't had any blood, and so he's weak by that.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't want to do it, and he tries to go sneak a human meal and realizes he can't hack it.
Makes him horribly sick. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like they kind of toned down how powerful he was in the second movie.
Yeah, well, at the first, yeah, but then at the end, when Marcus, who now everyone knows the first vampire, is trying to free his brother William, who is the first werewolf and the most powerful werewolf.
Right.
Which I thought was a great, multiple character final fight between Selene and Marcus and Michael and William. Yeah. Those guys were not evenly matched at all. And it's impressive that they were able to defeat them in the way that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But that was
you're right.
Awesome
he does
fight.
appear much more powerful at the end. It was just kind of an odd build of. He seemed so powerful at the end of the first one, but then not so powerful at the beginning of the second one.
Or even the middle, because Marcus totally takes him out, impales him repeatedly.
Yes.
And so. But, somewhere in between, they run into Alexander Corvinus. He shows up and basically reveals the reason, so that, if you were ever wondering why humans haven't noticed this before, is that Corvinus, who is the progenitor of this entire race, his sons
he's the father of Marcus and William.
Yeah, he's the original immortal. He's still alive. He's been running around the world with this team cleaning up their messes so that the world doesn't know about them. And eventually Marcus shows up like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, Dad, because I got daddy issues or something. And you know, another blood memory thing where Selene is given Alexander's blood, and not only just to survive, but also she inherits his
memories and abilities.
His memories and abilities. So now she can, as she doesn't discover until the end of the movie, you know, stand in sunlight.
She gets his immortal abilities.
Yeah, which that's freaking awesome. It reminds me of like this video game series. I don't know if you've heard of it or played it, the Legacy of Kain series.
I've heard of it. I haven't played it.
The Soul Reaver games is like a spin-off like series of it too. They like run parallel with each other in timelines and stuff, and you play this character who is a vampire who's been killed but brought back by this old god, and you have the ability to absorb the powers of the vampire lords that you kill. Mm-hmm. And like in this case, it's just a really cool ability because it's like, oh my gosh, she has his power now. And so by the end of that movie, like they are both these immensely powerful figures. And it's just they don't know what's going to happen in the future because now she can stand in sunlight, but at the same time, Corvinus is dead, and
no one's protecting the clans anymore.
Yeah, nobody's keeping them a secret. And so I was freaking out a little at the end of it because I thought, oh my gosh, this next one is going to be this huge human, lycan, vampire tri-war, where it's this Trinity War kind of a thing where three sides are fighting against each other, and everyone has everything to lose, but nobody trusts the others. And I had so many different ideas as to where it would go, and then we get a prequel.
You know, I was down on the prequel for a long time. In preparation, I rewatched Evolution and Lycans. And here's why I will defend Rise of the Lycans. Because Lucian is presented in that first movie, and we know that he's a Lycan, and he's trying to kill the vampires, and he hates Victor. So you almost, at least the first time I saw Underworld, was siding with the vampires. Just thinking, wow, Lucian and these guys, these Lycans are horrible. But you don't really find out until Rise of the Lycans that Lucian is the man. Like, he is awesome. He has this relationship with Victor's daughter. Victor gets upset about it and kills his daughter, knowing that she's pregnant with what could have been the first hybrid. We're not sure how that would have worked out. But, I don't know. I feel like you get a little bit more from Lucian. The fighting I really liked because, I mean, there's a lot of gun battle in the other movies. It's kind of nice in the prequel that it's so long ago that everything is sword fights and more hand-to-hand combat, so you get a little bit more creature violence with the werewolves fighting the vampires. You get a little bit more of that because they only have swords and bows and arrows and stuff.
It's true, and they've got those like giant, enormous crossbow firing things from their castle.
The ballistas, yeah.
Yeah, that like skewer a full Lycan. It's like, oh man.
And like I said earlier, this is where you get to see the difference between the werewolves and the Lycans.
Yeah, because it's revealed here that Lucian was born from, like, he looks like a human, but he was born from a Lycan mother or something.
He was born from a werewolf mother and was the first of the Lycan breed.
There we go, yeah. And so Victor calls him the first of the Lycans, and then once they were bitten, they were unable to retake human form.
But he has the ability to have the strength of a werewolf at all times, even in his human form.
Yeah, and so then
he transform at will.
Yeah, and so he basically becomes like, I feel like it's just some kind of an overused story where he becomes the trusted and most favored servant of the lord of the castle, and
all the while sleeping with his daughter.
Sonia, and she gets knocked up, and Victor's like, there cannot be a blending of the species. It would be an abomination. I just love the way he says that word. I'm pretty sure he says it in Pirates of the Caribbean that way too. He's like, abomination.
I think it's in his contract. He has to say it in every movie he's in.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Because he says it and it's incredible. But yeah, then there's this whole war. Lucian escapes the castle, because Sonya gets killed by Victor, who doesn't want the baby to, ever become a thing. And so he gets together this little group of, this ragtag group of peasants or something.
And turns them into Lycans.
Yeah, turns them into Lycans so that they can do battle with the vampires, and they are not ready for this. And so that's when Victor like leaves and he gets put inside his little crypt or whatever so that he can sleep for 100 years or 200 years or whatever.
It's pretty cool at the end of that. If you'll remember the fight between Lucian and Victor, Lucian thinks that he has killed Victor. He stabs him with his own sword through the face. Like, he thinks he's done for, but Victor, of course, survives.
Yeah. Yeah,
and we know he's going to survive, being a prequel, but
yeah,
I don't know. You just got more exposition about Lucian and just see Lucian in a totally different light, so that when he dies in the first one, you don't really have an attachment to him, but in the third one, you're like, oh, he died. Dang it. Kraven kills him, and Kraven sucks. I hate you.
Yeah, that's one of the things I don't like about prequels coming after the fact, like after the other movies.
It changes your opinion.
You know people are going to survive, so I'm like, oh, the main power struggle is between Victor and Lucian.
And you know both of them are in the first movie.
Yeah, like, well, they survived, so I'm not too invested in that final battle. It better be awesome.
As far as that, yes, it wasn't very strong, and it's definitely not my favorite, but I do like that it gives a little bit more backstory to why they're at war. And the very beginning of the movie is, they all kind of go back in time and show a lot of different scenes, and so it was just nice to be able to see where that rivalry came from, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, the third movie isn't definitely my favorite, but I probably would give it the third ranking in this.
I think I would
series.
Definitely give it the third rank.
The second one, man, it's tough because I really enjoyed all of them, but I'm gonna give the first one my first ranking, the second best, and
so they're just gonna go in order.
They're just gonna go in order. They got progressively worse, but to be honest,
I don't even want to say worse. I mean, they're all so great. I just think they got.
Yeah, okay, not worse. That is a bad choice of word. It's just I enjoyed the first one more awesomely, better,
more betterer.
I enjoyed it a lot more, but yeah, so the third one was still really good. I mean, if you're going to watch these in order, you might as well watch the third one first.
I agree.
And then go. So go 3, 1, 2, and then you can do 4, which is what we'll talk about next, Underworld Awakening. This one, actually, no, you can't really say much because these all came out 3 years apart from each other. So the first one was 2003, Evolution 2006, Rise of the Lycans 2009, and then Underworld Awakening 3 years ago in 2012. So we would always have been hoping for one to
come out this year.
I got words. Yeah, come out this year, and it didn't. And it's fine. The next one's supposed to come out next year, and that's great. So I should have known this beforehand, but I just never really looked into it too much. The director of the first two,
Len Wiseman.
Yeah, Len Wiseman is Kate Beckinsale's spouse.
He wasn't during the first one.
No.
He was married to Lucian.
Oh, really?
Michael Sheen, the guy who plays Lucian, they were married during the first movie. She left him and married Len Wiseman, and then they were all reunited for the third, or for the second and third movie and everything. So it's just kind of this awkward triangle.
Yeah, no joke. Oh, man. Wow.
I read something that said that during the second movie, they have the cast chairs that they all sit in off stage, and instead of putting her name on it, Len Wiseman put like "My Sweetie" or something, something corny and romantic on her chair, and I'm like, well, that's a giant slap in the face to Michael Sheen, her ex-husband, who has to be there and see this going on.
Oh yeah, he's listed as like one of her partners or something. Yeah. Oh man. Well, I mean, Michael Sheen has also been with Rachel McAdams and Sarah Silverman. Is his squeeze? I don't know. I like Rachel McAdams. She's pretty good sometimes for the most part. She was good in Sherlock Holmes. They made her look pretty. I guess. Something about that. Something. I don't know.
That's what he's into, I guess.
Yeah, there you go, girls. What do you do? But anyways, Len Wiseman is coming back. So he didn't direct the Rise of the Lycans
or the
Awakening, and so he's decided he's going to come back into the series. It looks like,
but I don't think he'll be directing. I think, if I remember right, it was Anna Forster who's going to be directing, but Len Wiseman to be the writing and producing.
Yeah, Anna Forster is going to direct the fifth film, but, I mean, spoiler alert here for later, Wiseman has said that there's going to also be a 6th film. It's in development, and Beckinsale is going to come back for that one too. So we don't just get a 5th movie, we get a 6th one too. Ha yeah.
He also wants to do a TV series.
That would be interesting.
I would say keep it to the movies, but they could do it.
Yeah, I agree. The movies are where they're best. They're strongest. But let's get down to the 4th one.
Oh, Awakening.
We still haven't even covered it. We're just like going all over the place. The 4th one, Underworld Awakening. I was really excited. I was way more excited for this movie than I was satisfied with it when I walked out of there.
I believe we went to the midnight premiere of this one.
We did. We sure did.
And it was in Provo, so we were the only ones there.
Yep. We're in Provo, Utah, where rated R movies are just they're like spoken about in hushed whispers. Mad Max Fury Road is out, right? And I keep calling it the Furry Road.
Don't do that.
It'd be a weird movie. That one's out right now. I'm gonna go see that later. And like most of the people I talk to about it are just like, oh, I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that's about. Who's Mad Max? Why is he mad? You didn't watch the first one?
Why is he mad?
Right at the very end of the movie, like, you're mad, Max. Mad. Like, haha, the movie title. But anyways,
we keep getting away from it, but back
to Underworld Awakening. It's a really good movie, guys. Trust us.
We're not trying to avoid it. I really liked it.
Oh, yeah. It was a really good movie. It actually had a great, like, the synopsis, the whole storyline before, or what it's about, when you hear about it, is like, oh, what happens is, Celine is captured and put inside cryosleep, and she wakes up years later only to find out that the vampires and lichens have been hunted to near extinction, and they're being tested.
Because Corvinus is gone.
Yeah, because Corvinus is gone. And now she wakes up to a world that, knows what she is and doesn't trust her and hates her and wants to kill her.
And she's told that lichens are extinct.
Yeah, and she gets told when she wakes up that lichens are gone forever and that there are like a few splinter
mini covens.
Yeah, little splinter covens that have gone out there, which is where Theo James comes in, but she eventually escapes and like is running away from lichens, which are supposed to be dead. And that's when she bumps into Theo James's character, and he's just like, oh, look, I can make my eyes glow blue.
They can all do that.
Well, yeah, but she's going to shoot him. He's like, wait, don't do it. And his eyes turn.
Oh, that's true. Look, I'm like you. And his eyes go blue.
I was like, that's it? That's what you're going to do? You could have just showed her your fangs. That's pretty much what...
Blue eyes are far more noticeable than pointy teeth.
I guess so. But I just thought it was ridiculous, but whatever. And then she bumps into that coven, and she, finds out about her little daughter, and finds her, and I thought it was a good idea that she had a kid, and that the kid actually has, Michael's powers, and she's sort of a hybrid. At least the way she transforms, she's a hybrid.
But it also seems that because of Celine's gifts, I guess you'll call them, from Corvinus, she seems almost even more powerful.
Yeah.
In that she has the direct Corvinus blood from her mom because of what she's done, and then also from Michael, the first hybrid, and they have that sort of psychic connection.
Yeah, so I thought that was a good introduction of a character. And then when they revealed that the lichens are alive and that they're hiding out as human...
They've taken over what the CDC equivalent, so they've acted like they're trying to solve the problem, but they're really studying it to make themselves stronger.
Yeah, and they end up making that Hulk werewolf that's like resistant to silver. The way they kill him off is just awesome, because it proves just how cool Celine is as a character. And I was just like, you know what, every time they introduce a character that obviously would look like it overpowers her, she's got it. Like, she can beat him.
Destroys it.
Yeah, I just love how she, like, cuts him open, sticks a grenade in there, but you don't see it at first. And then, a silver grenade, by the way. And he's like, sorry, I heal up way too fast. And she's like, yeah, I was counting on that.
And just holds up the grenade pins.
Yeah, and he's just like, no, like, scratching at his stomach, but all he can do is, clear off the blood or whatever. And that's how they get him, and I was just like, yes, that's how it should be.
That was awesome. I also like the introduction, wow. The introduction of Michael Ealy's character, who was the cop.
Oh yeah, who was
the detective who had a wife who was a vampire, and so he knew all about it. And I thought he was a cool character who may make an appearance in the next one. Who knows?
Yeah,
Seems like he'll be back.
He was underutilized for his part.
Absolutely underutilized.
But like one of the problems, and I even had it a little bit with this fourth movie, is that it wasn't long enough. I thought
it was rushed.
Yeah, and there was a lot of action and very little story to it, and that's part of the reason I liked these first three so much, is that there was a lot of story, and that it was a very vibrant universe that had a lot of content to it. And in this fourth one, they're just like, it's something vampires.
Well, and let's also we mentioned this earlier. We both said it out loud. Is that the reason this had the story was lacking, and the reason it was so short is all thanks to Mr. Scott Speedman, who refused to return for the fourth movie. And so they're mentioning the Michael character. He's seen, thanks to CGI, at the very beginning, and he's referenced, and you see through his eyes at the end of the movie, but we never see him. He's not in the movie. And so it just felt like they were trying to carry a character who didn't exist. They were constantly referencing him and trying to find him, but he's not there. We know he's not there. So it just felt like empty. And I think that's where a lot of the dead space came from.
Yeah, as much as people, or they might have thought he wasn't an essential character, or whatever ended up happening, he is crucial to the story.
Absolutely.
Like, he and Celine are very complementary to each other, and like how this works out. And they are the center of this universe. And hopefully so it's titled Underworld Next Generation, or at least currently that's what it's called. Totally could be. It was originally going to be a reboot. And
with
so
a
that's
whole
why
new actress and everything. And I was not in favor of that.
Yeah, I wasn't either. When I heard that they were like, yep, Theo James is going to be the main character, it's called Underworld Next Gen, and it's going to be about other vampires in this universe and how they're important too, or whatever. I'm not trying to downplay any of that stuff, but although it sounds like I am, and I probably
It sounded
am.
better than a complete reboot, though.
Yeah, a complete reboot with him, with
not necessary.
Yeah, with 4, whatever. He just, it wasn't, I don't feel like it would have worked out very well. And if they really want to reboot this, or not reboot, like rejuvenate this franchise, they got to get Kate Beckinsale back. And if they don't get Scott Speedman, like if he doesn't want to do this, like just get somebody else to play Michael. Get somebody who maybe looks similar or is just like a little older, and they're like, well, you don't look anything the same. He's like, yeah, I've changed.
And that's the thing, is because it's been, I believe they said she was asleep for 12 years in Underworld Awakening.
Yeah.
And I'm never a fan of replacing actors in movies, but this is a point, and I told you this as well, that I would rather have the character than the actor.
Yeah.
We need Michael. I want Scott Speedman because I want him back, but if we don't get him back, I don't care. I'd rather have Michael to complete the story. If you're going to kill him off, do it. Whatever you're going to do, I'll go see it. I hope you don't, but we need to have Michael back with Celine and with their daughter, and to find out how that connection works and where he went, because like I said, you follow through his eyes at the end of the fourth movie. He's there, and he leaves. Where is he going? But I like what you said, that, I mean, it'd be easy to just say, oh, you look so different. They experimented on me. I looked so weird. They've got a lot of options.
Yeah. So, and then I hope they bring back their daughter. I found her name Eve.
Which is odd because she's credited as Eve. She is never called Eve in the movie. They call her Subject 2 through the entire movie.
Yeah, they do. But I guess they either gave her or they give her or something. She's got a name. It's Eve. Something. Yeah. And she, I hope they bring her back too. Like, I really, really hope she doesn't like it just killed off or something. But
because she was the whole point of the fourth movie.
Yeah, and there's like this cool connection between the parents and the daughter, and
they can all see through each other's eyes, which is totally new to the franchise and to the genre.
Yeah, so. and I mean, there could be other powers involved. Who the heck knows? Right? Yeah, like they could totally run with this and do all sorts of stuff. And if they leave it at Next Generation, I mean, and I really hope they don't do this, they could kill off at the very least Michael and like have
the daughter continue.
Eve, continue as the most powerful figure in this universe, with just Kate Beckinsale just being awesome. Because
now the world is completely different. In Next Generation, you have sparse amounts of vampires left because they've been hunted. The humans after them, and the Lycans are supercharged.
Yeah, and there still aren't very many of them either. I don't think they there's a
Right,
whole
but
horde
they
of
figured
them.
out ways to make themselves immune to silver and to make themselves stronger and bigger, and so it's
Yeah.
going to be a very different world in the next movie, which is I like that because it won't be just rehashing the same thing.
Yeah, and they might even, like, and this is just me theory crafting it again, is like they might have to like be like, okay, since silver bullets don't work as well because they're just bullets, or even with the you know, the liquid silver inside, they could go back to blades and just be like, you know what, we have to use swords to like cut them up,
Yeah.
and that's the only way we're going to be able to finish these guys off. And I think that would be incredible. I
would love that.
I would love swords as their, you know, or even, you know, axes, pikes, etc. They can do whatever they want. Just that would be pretty awesome.
Definitely.
And I think that's just what it needs to be like. I think this next generation, or kind of hope they change the name. But even if they don't, whatever. I hope like the first part of that movie is them trying to find Michael. And they do, and then there's got to be some like other subplot that eventually becomes the main big bad that they have to fight against.
But I don't think we'll get that based on the. I know they won't recast the daughter. I really don't see that happening. But the actress who was the daughter was supposed to be 12 in the last movie. She was clearly older than 12, but played a 12-year-old girl.
It says she's 14.
Really?
Yeah, I got the movie page up and it says she's 14
in that movie.
Yeah.
So, but she's supposed to be playing 12, right?
It just says 14. There's not a whole lot on her. She just says Eva's 14-year-old hybrid daughter.
Okay, well, 14, but it's been 4 years since that movie. The actress does not look like a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl. And so I feel like they're going to have to say more time has passed when this next movie starts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it says she's currently credited to be in that movie.
So that's what I mean is if she's going to be in this movie, I wonder how they're going to say, oh, it's been a few years, that's why she looks older. If they're not going to address, like if they're going to say this picks up right after the fourth movie, it's going to be pretty obvious that she's older.
Yeah.
And they could even pull some weird like, oh, since she's a hybrid, maybe she ages differently, or you know, they like I said, with this genre, they've got so much freedom.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real plot at the time, and I'm looking at the IMDb, and it's just like, oh, it's got Kate Beckinsale. It still has Theo James on there. Like he said, he's going to show up because in his contract, he has, I'm not sure, it's called the option clause or something.
The option agreement, yeah.
Option agreement, there we go. And he's allowed to show up in the movie if he wants. And he says like, oh, I'm way too busy with Divergent, or I guess it's going to be Insurgent. No, Allegiant. There we go. So but they've got like a different name for the movie titles because it's split in half. So it's like Allegiant, the Divergent Start, or something like that. I don't know. They're just, it should just be Allegiant 1. We like money. And he's like, yeah, I'm way too busy with these and other agreements. So he's just like, I'll show up for this one. And then the little girl's name is India Isley. And so she's credited to be in there too.
You could almost see some sort of relationship developing between Theo James's character and Eve. Like he seemed to kind of be her protector and kind of there for her in the coven in the fourth one. And so you almost expected some kind of thing to develop between them in this next movie, but if he's not going to be in it, I don't think they'll go that route.
Yeah, and if he is, they might just kill him off so that they can like get rid of him or whatever. But yeah, she's like 22 right now, so
it'd be hard for her to pull off a 14-year-old girl.
We say that, and I'm just going to bring this up, but Alison Brie.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah, I was headed straight there. She's in her 30s now. She's 32, and like she started in Community back when she was, 27. Mm-hmm. And they had her
18-year-old girl.
Played an 18-year-old girl, and I believed it.
Very believable.
So it's just like, you know what? Age is just a number, and Hollywood can do whatever they want.
They'll make work.
Yeah. So, I mean, India Isley's been getting out there. She just did this. It's kind of like a. What are they? Man, I just don't remember anything today. She was in a movie called Kites. It was a manga. There we go. It's a Japanese manga that had I think it had a TV miniseries like forever ago. Yeah, she's like this young, cute, cold-blooded killer. And so they have India Isley as the main actress in that movie, and then of course because he's in every movie, Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, he has to be.
Yeah, like if he's he is in every single movie ever. No, but really, it's just so she's 21. She'll be 22 by the time this movie comes out. They start filming in October, and so up in Prague, over somewhere. In Prague, and so they've got her credited. Maybe they say, hey, a few years have passed since that time. We've been searching for Michael, haven't found him, but we've recently the trail has become hot again, and we're on the move or something or whatever. But yeah, I hope she's in it, really, and I guess I don't care if it's the same actress, but now that she's much older, and I mean, if she's 22, she now has to be much larger. Or at least taller, Not saying she's fatty.
Larger.
It's hard to describe the size of, some people, mainly females, and have them not be like, you just called me fat.
Yeah.
Like, as a teenager, I couldn't say anything right, so it's just like, it hasn't gotten better. But, she'll be a lot older and taller, I guess we'll say. And so I think they'll probably be able to pull her off as maybe like some 18-year-old version of the Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we go from there. She's just freaking awesome as a super duper hybrid.
That could work.
I believe it could. I really hope it does. I look forward to this. I'm excited that it's going to be coming out as soon as next year.
And I'm excited that they have Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, because
they needed some to attach this to the previous movies.
Yeah, and Theo James probably could have done okay. I mean, he seems fine and all, but I definitely prefer Kate Beckinsale as being able to like pull this off. But yeah, I don't know if Scott Speedman's going to come back because he's not credited and he wasn't even in the fourth one. They said they used archive footage and then like stand-ins with CGI, so they Paul Walkered him in that movie.
So sad that that's become a phrase now.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've done it before, and it's impressive what they were able to do. I still haven't seen Furious 7, but I'll go see it eventually. People said it was good.
I've seen it.
It's already up there in like the top grossing films of all time.
Billions. It's incredible how much it's made.
Yeah, like the only things that are above it are like Avengers: Age of Ultron, Avengers, Avatar, and Titanic.
And that's by not a huge margin. Like
if it were able to make a couple $100 million more, which we say that like it's nothing, but
yeah.
Well, I guess for movies it isn't. Like it could actually come up there. But anyways.
But it is impressive how they can make those actors appear.
Yeah, Underworld, Next Generation, maybe a different name, maybe not. Who knows? I kind of hope it is, but whatever.
I'll see it either way.
Yeah, so, and then a sixth film, who knows, that will be directed.
Sixth film, possible TV series.
Yeah.
I'm not
too thrilled about it. It's in development.
Series, but.
So I scrolled down further and there it is. Wiseman announced an Underworld TV series is in development, but just because it's in development doesn't mean it'll happen.
And it doesn't mean it will have anything to do with the movies. It could just be the same universe.
Yeah.
They won't get any of the actors.
Yep. Well, yeah, because we talked about this not on the show, but earlier we were talking about how TV and movie contracts differ and how they might be able to like get some cameos in or whatever. Because Samuel L. Jackson can do it with, like the Marvel movies and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, I mean, other people can do it.
There's a possibility, but more than likely it'll just take place in the universe of. And
trading properties and rights and all this money stuff that people worry about. Like, they really, really, really just need to let it go so we can enjoy our shows.
I agree. Stop money grubbing. Stop hogging your characters.
But yeah, there we go. Underworld, an incredible series. Probably not the greatest of all time, but I definitely love it.
Out of that genre of the vampire and the werewolves, it's probably my favorite. I love the Blade series. The Blade series is fantastic, and we will always have the hope of a crossover, though it will never ever happen. But those two are by far the best, and the storytelling in Underworld is far and away better.
Yeah, and also when, Celine walks out into the sunlight, she doesn't sparkle, and that just makes it miles better
That just
than
sets it
anything
off
else ever.
completely.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, that just like, the vampire, and maybe that's why this, vampire movie had to be held back a little while, because vampires became extremely weak. Like,
Vampires were so overused and so CW and
yeah, it's just
so cheesy.
so many shows were coming out because that was like the new thing, and now zombies are that thing. And again, CW, iZombie, oh man, they're just like riding trains, aren't they?
That's true.
I have to admit though, CW does have a lot of good shows. They've got Flash and Arrow, and Supernatural's ending this year, so
Supernatural got renewed.
it did.
It did. I was
Aw, man.
keeping my fingers crossed that it was gonna end because, as you know, I love that show, but
Yeah,
it was supposed to end after season 5. This is season 10. They are now concluding,
yeah. They said that season 10 was supposed to be the last,
and they renewed it at the last minute for season 11.
I don't know why.
It needs to be done.
Yeah, like
Great show that they're gonna kill.
I agree shows are good when they can run for a long time, but it has to happen. Like, Breaking Bad is always the example I run to, just because it was so dang good. They ran that show for 5 seasons, and even though they split the last one in half, so it should have been just 4 or whatever, they did a good job and they knew when to kill it. So
They
that
could have
way,
continued. They didn't. They knew when it was the right time. They let it go. And even now, with the Better Call Saul,
yeah,
they know what they're doing, and they don't kill these characters and overrun it. So
yeah, so they definitely know how to not wear out their audience. Whereas and this is always like the other number one reference, like a show Dexter, they were doing so well for the first few years, and then it seemed like they just wanted to run it forever. And then, like, slowly their viewership declined, and they realized we can't keep this up forever. We have to stop. And I mean, it's sad that that's how it works out, but I mean, I gotta be honest, I haven't watched a ton of Supernatural, but I have seen it fair enough.
the first 2 seasons are the best, but
Yeah, because they killed their dad. No,
just the main story arc completely wraps up after season 5, and then
yeah, and sexy demon chicks are in the first few seasons.
they fight the devil in season 5. How do you go on from that?
Yeah, I kind of wondered that because my wife really, really likes that show. She's a faithful watcher of it too.
Yeah,
And she's watched every episode, all seasons twice, like on Hulu or Netflix or whatever it's on.
I've watched them all. I own them, but
Yeah, and so she really likes it, and she was really happy that they were going to end the series and be done. I know enough about it to like be able to sometimes differentiate between Sam and Dean. So, because sometimes I'm just like, yeah, oh hey, wait, that one guy was like a voice actor in that one animated movie, and I was just like, no, don't do this,
don't do that.
Don't ruin my show. I was like, yeah, he was a voice actor, he was like some character in something, and I'm just like, no, please don't ruin this. So yeah, I mean, CW, whatever. We could go forever. We just we weave tangents all over the place.
I hope you followed them all, because I got lost.
Yeah, well, sometimes I can bring it back around. The history of this show, I mean, granted, this is only episode 6, but I mean, I am terrible. I'm good sometimes with segues, but I'm not really. I'm pretty bad. And with tangents, if I can get going, I am gone forever.
It's true. I will agree.
But sometimes I can bring it back around. So, I guess we're gonna wrap it up. I think we've reached the end point of where we can go with these. But if you're the kind of person who is looking for something cool to watch, you want to, get yourself a good universe to get into that's themed with vampires that aren't sparkly, and werewolves that aren't puppy dogs. That, have now starred in nothing but, discount straight to DVD bin movies. Talking about you, werewolf guy, something team, Avid Jake, Werid something.
Wow, that was awful.
I don't know their names. They're people that exist.
I'd be more concerned if you
Wait, his name is Taylor Swift, but not with the Swift. It's Taylor Lautner. That's right. There we go. See, I worked it around. Something like that. He dated Taylor Swift. It was Taylor and Taylor, proving that name is unisex or something. I don't know. And Yeah, there you go. He's been in like 3 action movies where it's just like, this sucks. You are a terrible
He
action
should
movie
not be
star.
allowed.
Dude, just quit. Like, go, like, get a degree in, creative writing or something.
I hate you. If he had a degree in creative writing, he wouldn't be in the movies he's in.
Exactly. He would be writing for the movies he's in or something.
Negative. He would not be writing for that crap.
Oh, brother. But, yeah, well, guys, that's our show for today. Thank you again, Kevin, for coming on the show today. He's our
Thanks for having me.
resident comic book nerd / vampire lover. He was the only guy I could do this show with, or this episode. There we go. And maybe he'll come back for more. We'll see how things go. Your life gets
Sounds good.
Life gets busy. I was about to say life gets babies, but I mean,
maybe, baby.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. If any of our listeners want to get a hold of us, you can find us on Facebook. We are the Mr. Vane Reviews page. You can go ahead and get to our website there. Leave us feed on Facebook or the website. It's all linked there. You can also leave comments at anywhere. Give us ideas for future shows if you'd like to. Things you want to hear us talk about or debate or, just give you more information on. We do the research, we talk about it, and we let you know what we think. And you can get a hold of us there. I am on Twitter at VaneDemise. And that's about it. So I guess that's it. I'm going to say goodbye.
Goodbye.